Welcome to episode 3 of Beyond Ball. I'm Tim Barris, joined by the coach and the logo, Johnny the Duel. We got a really great episode on tap here. We're going to talk about the swear jar. We're going to talk a little about your week this week, Johnny, NFL free agency, the Steelers quarterback situation, NBA officiating, March Madness, and some fun would you rather questions. So the first thing we're going to discuss is our swear jar. And a suggestion from one of our viewers, Michael from Amsterdam, thank you, Michael, for the suggestion, is that instead we should use it on an ignorant parlay once it gets like $25-$30. So I think that's what we're going to do.
It's an easy call there.
100%.
Become millionaires off the swear jar.
Yeah, hopefully not. Yeah, so... Johnny, how's the rest of your week going?
The rest of my week is I've probably gained 5 to 10 pounds eating Reese's eggs, and I'm not even kidding. To recap last week's debate that we had, is you preposterously chose original Reese's being better than the egg.
Because they're available. They're more widely there.
It's the wrong call.
No,
which
not.
is okay. But since then, I've become sick, like actually sick from eating Reese's eggs. How many? If I told you, so these packs, these guys, all right. How many?
Got to
of these,
give some to Haywood and one to Nick there.
Over under. I'm serious. Like you see this egg.
Yeah.
Over under in a week, because I think we did it last Sunday. I think I've eaten 50 of these.
Not even Easter yet.
In a week.
What's wrong with you?
Like a case comes with 6. There's been days where I come home with 2 cases. I'm eating them for breakfast. It's like not okay. So
this is not a commercial either. This is
so our sponsor Reese's.
It's not really.
No, but seriously, like I think it's crazy. So I don't know whether to credit you because they taste so fire and they're way better than yours, or just kind of be pissed at you because I can't stay off the toilet.
Well, that's have some Metamucil, have some fiber in your diet, and all of that should work out.
So make sure you just eat a couple though, so you can.
Didn't you were you seeing the Dune movie and had to like step out from it?
Oh yeah, we had Dune. Is it Dune?
Yeah, it's
Dune
Timothée
2.
Chalamet.
Yeah,
yeah.
The movie's subpar.
Well, yeah.
Spoiler
I mean, how
alert.
can he be in that wind? He's so small. You just get blown away.
I mean, I literally walked away from the theater yesterday, and it was slightly windy. And I was like, imagine if I was 10 pounds lighter and the wind was just a little bit more. I'm moving, so that's a good call. Like, it just made it more.
The way you're eating Reese's, he's more than 10 pounds lighter than you.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I didn't love the movie, but I literally had to leave as the climax was coming because pause because I had to go to the bathroom. Like, yeah. So sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
Awesome. So that was last week's recap. Let's get into some NFL free agency. So Johnny, what really stands out to you in this last batch of free agency? Last week we talked about Jerry Jeudy coming to Cleveland. But we've had a lot going on.
All right. So the first thing that I would say is running back play. Like so Tony Pollard, let me see here. We got Saquon to the Eagles. We got Derrick Henry to the Ravens, right?
Right.
So I actually like all 3 pickups. I think that the only one, like, you can obviously argue that the Titans downgraded from going to Henry to Pollard, but I just think you have 3 dynamic dudes that for cheap price tags, in my opinion, 10 to 15 mil a year for a running back. I'm almost going to argue for running backs and say that that wave has gone and flew away to where they're overvalued and now they're getting undervalued. And I think that they could change games, change teams. Not that the Eagles offense needed it really until the playoffs started, but now it's like, okay, you have a weapon at every position. So they're going to be really tough to stop. I think Pollard's more dynamic than Henry. And then I think of a guy like Gus Edwards last year, who's a touchdown lunatic for the Ravens, and then you put in arguably the best running back in football.
And even Gus Edwards, he's going to be in a good situation with the Chargers. Yeah, getting reunited with former offensive coordinator Greg Roman, Jim Harbaugh style offense. They literally have gotten rid of all their receivers. So Gus Edwards is also a sneaky play. I love Saquon though in Philly. Yeah. Like, think about if you're Saquon Barkley, you have not really had a legitimate quarterback. You've had to deal with Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito last year. You have seen a million 8-man fronts.
Yeah.
And now you get to go to Philly where you're going to get to play off of the read option game because in the run game, they're going to have to watch out for Hurts still. And then they still have that dynamic passing game with Brown and Devontae Smith. I mean, he's going to have a lot of room to operate.
No, for sure.
You're looking at maybe he could put up a 1,500, total yards from scrimmage season, with this offense. And no one could key on him. You have so many weapons there.
It reminds me a little bit of like when McCaffrey started his hype and then everybody knew how good McCaffrey was, and then the Panthers just sucked, and then he kind of disappeared for a little bit or would get hurt for a year here and a year there, and then now he's the best running back in football again. I think that's kind of where we're going with Saquon.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna look like a lunatic, like a video game, and just be a monster.
He's gonna have a lot of room to operate.
I got another sneaky offensive pickup that. Remember how you wrote this team off from winning the Super Bowl, but the Chiefs.
It's
so
not recorded.
The Chiefs
not
get
there. It never
hot.
existed.
I have to get it on one episode that you said that the Chiefs were not winning the Super Bowl.
I don't know what you're talking
very
about.
deliberately.
And I always said these Reese's were the best. I don't know.
So Hollywood Brown though, going to KC,
really sneaky,
is like so sneaky. I feel like
we thought Kadarius Toney would be for them.
Yeah, or like this is how I was looking at it, is not that Anthony Schwartz is good at all, or like that we think he's good, but I feel like if he goes to the Chiefs, he's just going to be a star because now you have a dude that can kind of showed you already that he can be that dynamic and big play threat. It's just going to be impossible to like play deep on them. I feel like, what do you do against the Chiefs now?
I mean,
like
I'll get into this when I talk
go
about
ahead.
some of the Cleveland Browns. Like one thing that
Let
I
me enjoy
like
my egg.
that I like the Cleveland Browns did is bringing back Zadarius Smith. Zadarius Smith had an 87.4 PFF grade in pass rushing. So when he was pass rushing, he was essentially an elite player, had 60 total pressures, and he helps Myles Garrett. The Browns bringing back him allows them to have this formula of being able to get pressure with your front four. And if you're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead, you have to pressure with your front four so you could keep 7 guys back. That's the only way you're winning because Mahomes is too good against the blitz. You're liking the flashy offensive. I'm going to go meat and potatoes. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. The other one I really like, Christian Wilkins to Vegas. Top defensive tackle. He might be the best defensive tackle in the league now since Aaron Donald retired. He had 10 sacks last year. Total pressures. He had 58 total pressures. And this will really help Crosby, the defensive end, who had the 8th most double teams in the league last year. Now you bring in a strong interior pass rush. They can't key in on him. And the Vegas defense really thrived once Antonio Pierce took over. This is a really big weapon.
How much money did he get?
4 years, $100 million.
Would you
and he's 28. And he's 28. So
would you have done that if you were us? Like if Zadarius was not an option?
Yeah, if I couldn't bring Zadarius back, I would have. I would have tried to make that work because you need, and I also like the Browns bring back everyone else. They brought back Harris, brought back Mo Hurst.
They're basically running it back.
They're running it back,
and even with Jameis, like it's not everybody loves Flacco, but it was still
a $3 million cap savings.
Like what you said last week, without Peyton Manning, we're probably
screwed. Yeah.
So I like that pickup anyway, because
it still doesn't preclude them from drafting a defensive tackle or a defensive end. The Browns, defense appears fine. Backup running back, they got Naheem Hines. They brought in the receiver, Jerry
still like
Jeudy.
Ford more than Hines. I'm not a Hines guy, but
that's fine. But maybe a scat back.
Yeah.
The Browns have a lot of flexibility in the second round of this draft.
Yeah, I feel that.
So, this kind of brings us to our division rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Rough year last year. They started Trubisky at quarterback, Pickett at quarterback, Mason Rudolph at quarterback. They look like kind of the Browns of old, except they were somehow able to manage to win 10 games and go to the playoffs. How do you feel, Johnny, about them bringing in not one, but 2 former starters with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields?
So every time you play the Steelers, I used to think like, okay, it's just Ben carrying these dudes, like they have a strong defense, but their offense is in shambles. You got one quarterback guy, right? My criticism for the last couple of years has been, I don't care what else the Steelers have. They don't have a quarterback. I hate that I love it for the Steelers.
Yeah.
I think they have 2 quarterbacks better than last year's quarterback now. they have their long-term option, they have their short-term
Yep.
option. They have a good mentor for their long-term option. Both of these guys have shown flashes of playing at the highest levels. Fields last year, thought started to come to his own. There was the rumors of him going to Atlanta, and I thought like kind of that might have sparked their offense and like gotten them. That's another good pickup we didn't talk about with
Yeah,
Kirk.
Kirk Cousins, Atlanta.
But honestly, I don't know what else to expect if you were Pittsburgh, aside from dealing and making some crazy deal for the number one pick and getting a Caleb Williams and like starting over. It wasn't Pickett. It wasn't Trubisky.
It's not Mason Rudolph.
And they get the guy who's proven it and is a veteran, and they get the young guy that if things go south quickly, we can just turn the page really fast. And I hate it. Like I think that their offense now, they can get bailed out by some quarterback play to win some games. But in the past, I feel like that was never an option. It was their defense has themselves a game or they lose the game.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting is, Russell Wilson, he's not prime Russell Wilson, but he still had 26 touchdowns and through the air, only 8 interceptions.
Well, somebody said why that was like not depictive though. Like everybody, like he had a bad year. Like everybody thought he had a bad year. He had 26 and 8. So
there
like
were a lot of open misses.
All right, but like you said, like numbers do lie a little bit, I guess. Like
but it's still better than Kenny Pickett. Like, and Kenny Pickett was scared to throw over the middle of the field. You bring in your veteran quarterback, and I think Justin Fields will help the Steelers. You can even do a Justin Fields package.
I think he's going to run
play.
Game. Yeah, he's still going to play.
They're not going to just sit him on the bench.
For sure.
You got the read options. I think this opens up the game for Jaylen Warren, who absolutely destroyed the Browns last year. So these make the Steelers a better team. Do I think it makes them better than the Browns? No.
Do you think it makes them better than anybody in our division?
It's such a tough question. I would say with a healthy Joe Burrow, no.
Yeah.
But let's see.
No, I think I agree with that. If Burrow's out, then you could argue that they're better than Cincy. But honestly, I do think the Browns have kind of the most to prove just because it took this kind of miracle run last year with this group and a quarterback that wasn't playing to get to that point. And I know you could argue that like, well, yeah, our ceiling might have been higher with that other guy, but it just was. They just haven't done it. Like
and 26% of their cap was on the IR. Like,
well, for sure,
a ton of guys were out.
The AFC North's the best division of football is my point. Yeah. And so is like just because what we did last year, like what the Browns did last year, doesn't mean that they're going to prove anything going forward. The Ravens think they're winning a Super Bowl. The Bengals think they're winning a Super Bowl, and the Steelers think they just got way better. So
and the Browns, we should think we should win a Super Bowl. I mean, if you look at the game, the game that he got hurt, Deshaun Watson in that second half at Baltimore, 14 of 14, what was like 140 yards.
It was
game-winning field goal drive.
People calling for Stefanski to get fired.
I never did that.
No, I could think of somebody though.
I know we can. I love Stefanski, but I do think the Steelers do get better and makes it even harder, a hard division, even harder. So we'll see. I think the Browns, though, did what they needed to accomplish, and now we have to look forward to the draft.
Yeah. I'm ready to fast forward.
Awesome.
To football.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I'm kidding. No, it's basketball time.
No, and speaking of basketball, last couple of weeks in the NBA, we're seeing less foul calls. We're seeing lower scoring games. What do you make of that?
I mean, so honestly, I know whatever our target audience is, I know like 95% of people are not watching full-length NBA games. I get that. If you are watching full-length NBA games, you can notice without question that something happened in February or All-Star game-wise to where officiating is the way it is. We had games a couple weeks ago played in the 60s and 70s, which I can't tell you the last time that happened.
Probably the 60s and 70s.
It took me a minute to find it, but fouls in general are down 10% in the last month and a half. It is significant. This was a crazy one. February was the third lowest. I was trying to find out ways to verify this. Third lowest free throw rate month in the history of the NBA. I was like,
that's officiating.
It's a little bit, but like that one's crazy to me. And then, it's just obvious. Like you watch a full NBA game, you're just like, I remember saying to you at the game we were at that like LeVert for some reason doesn't get calls at the basket. I just notice things like this more and more, and the numbers are actually tying into it. We joked about it, like everybody who has the LeBron Jordan arguments are just, they bring up stats and they say, well, look at what LeBron averaged versus what Jordan averaged. And I'm like, that's the biggest joke of an argument because 10
Two
years from
different
now,
eras.
at this rate, Luka Doncic is going to look like every game he ever played is a Wilt Chamberlain 100 game. Like he just does what he wants every night. So I hate that logic, but you could see that the league did something or said something or somebody did. I don't get how they get that message across to the court, but here was the other one now that the NBA is involved in gambling and everything. 71% of unders have hit since the All-Star
Ooh.
break. So like that's just a weird
The books will catch up though.
they will, but it's still weird.
Also, how many people bet unders? The books probably loving this.
Of course. Like people just bet overs probably traditionally, like in general, but it is strange how now let me reiterate this. I love it. Like these games are so much more fun to watch.
More physical.
I think they're more physical. It's more playoff type games. I think they're just officiating these games as if a lot of these were playoff games. It's sweet to watch. I don't even know. I do think it's intentional. I think like every single team's points per games or like possessions per game, everything's just gone down. It's just too unison
Yeah.
to be arguable. But
And,
yeah,
and
it's
you
just
saw the
crazy
reports that they were looking into ways to make the game, lower scoring, but they
In
didn't
the
come out
future.
with, in the
Yeah.
future.
stuff. Yeah.
Probably this is an experiment that they're doing. Call less fouls, slow the game up a little bit, reward players for playing defense. And that's what we're getting right now.
And I'm all about it. There's 2 games this week. This is crazy. There's 2 games this week. The Cavs game and Blazers. I forget who they played. Cavs played the Pelicans. Both the Blazers and the Cavs did not shoot a free throw until the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the Cavs only shot 3 that game.
Yeah,
And the Pelicans had like 20, and we won by 20.
it just doesn't happen in the
No.
NBA, and that's a really weird,
It was nuts.
stat line in that game too.
So NBA, we go to the college ranks. March Madness. Everyone's filling out their brackets probably as we speak.
Quick question:
All right.
brackets just came out, so whenever this comes out, like
They literally just came out.
Before we get to the men's side, is Caitlin Clark the biggest star in college basketball?
Yeah.
In college sports?
Yeah. Right now. Yeah.
In college sports in the last 5 years?
Yeah.
In all college sports? In the last 5 years?
There's basketball games that are having prices of $300, $400, $500. Yeah, she is.
Okay. I was thinking of some quarterbacks or something like that could compete. I don't think there's anybody. I think Zion on the men's side.
Zion would probably be one that I put up there.
Yeah, but it's got to be a football guy if anybody's gonna compare.
And it's tough to name someone in the last 5 years. I mean,
and where I work right now, like you see these young girls coming into the gym, it's insane. You have like Caitlin Clark mini-me's coming.
It's great.
They dress like her. They literally wear her shirt or jerseys. Like they put their hair the same. Like everything's the same. It's just so I think she's the biggest.
I mean,
star
she's
too.
bigger
I'll agree with you.
I would say she's bigger than Marvin Harrison Jr.
For sure.
And I love Marvin Harrison Jr.
Is she bigger than Caleb Williams? Is like
Yeah,
what it comes down to.
100%.
And she is, yeah.
It also helps that like she is somewhat East Coast,
Yeah.
where Caleb's West Coast. But yeah, Caitlin Clark, fascinating story, and good luck in the WNBA.
So college, all right. This is a feel good story. Wagner, small. I think they're in New York. Is Wagner New York?
Oh,
Somewhere.
there's like a
somewhere
million
northeast.
D1 schools.
Okay, well they made their tournament. They have 7 healthy players right now, and I don't even know how they got hurt. Probably should have looked a little more into that, but they ended up with the 6th seed in the NEC tournament, and they just won nail biter after nail biter, and now they're in with 7 dudes.
Well, college, you can get away with that a little bit because you play only 40 minutes and you get a TV timeout every 4 minutes.
True.
A little more doable in college.
It's still though like
it's hard.
Well, if you don't like one of your 7 and he's playing 20 minutes a game, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then I could be wrong in this. We have to look this up. But I think they had 6 dudes because their team was that injury prone, and
it says Hoosiers.
And they went and picked up the quarterback from the football team, and he's one of their top 7, and he's like nice. And I think he just plays now, and he just like started in the middle of the year.
The story.
Yeah. So there's a sweet.
Do you know what seed they got?
16. They're in the play in 16. They're gonna get smacked by UNC, but it's okay. Like
I mean, good for Wagner.
Dan Hurley was there. I think that's where Dan Hurley got his start, like 20 years ago. Yeah.
Cool.
So maybe the second ever 16/1.
Probably not.
Is it? Would that be the second? I think it would.
Yeah.
So that's that. Akron Kent. Did you the end of that game?
Oh my gosh, that poor kid. He thought he had a foul to give.
So I'm glad. So we'll say what happened. They're Kent's down by 1. They miss a runner. Shout out to my guy Little Sullinger. He misses a runner. clear on Hornbeak for Kent State, gets a putback. So they're up by one
Yep.
now. There's 4 seconds left. Clock's ticking. Akron's in the 1-1. I think his name's Rollins on Kent State. I don't remember his name for sure, but fouls Akron's point guard Tribble, an OBC kid. Fouls him with 4 seconds left or 2 seconds left.
It was 4.8, I believe.
4.8. He goes down, nails both. Rollins is crying.
You,
Akron wins. They're going to the tourney. Kent State doesn't get it done as an 8 seed. Would have been crazy.
you feel really bad for the kid, and you hope he bounces
I was going to ask
back.
you this. I was going to ask you
You
this.
feel awful for him. Now, Akron is
So-
the better team and deserve to go to the tourney. A MAC team being an 8th seed in their own tournament, there definitely would have been in the play-in.
So do you as a human being, I was talking to the wife about this, do you feel bad for Rollins? Like
on an individual basis, yes.
it's like one of those questions, like, do you feel bad for the kickers when they like miss the game winning?
Depends on who I'm rooting for.
Who the kicker is or what's going on. So in this circumstance, you feel bad because it's a college kid and he's
and
like,
I didn't have money on the
I
game,
think he's
yeah.
just a sophomore from Chicago. I was looking up. I'm like, I hope this isn't his last
feel
ever
bad, like,
college
like-
game. But
It's like I was playing basketball the other day, and I got called for the first ever transition take foul
yeah.
in Lakewood YMCA basketball
Yeah.
history. Like, I feel bad for myself there, so yeah, I'm gonna feel
that's
bad.
crazy.
Yeah, and rec league, a transition take, really. No, but you feel for the kid on an individual basis. You hope he takes it, uses it as motivation, and uses it to get better. And I'm gonna be rooting for him.
Or what are like? I'm trying to think of sports moments.
Like, do you
though,
feel
like,
bad for Chris Webber for calling a timeout?
See, like, no, like I don't. And he was a college kid, but like maybe I would have felt differently in the past, like knowing who Chris Webber was. Like now I know who Chris Webber is. So
I'm more likely to feel bad for college kids because, like, that kid, he's
Agreed.
playing for Kent
So
State.
like these college kickers
a
that like,
MAC tournament.
it's about to happen in the college football playoff where a dude misses a kick that would have sent his team to the college football playoff or like to advance.
Well,
And
we
then,
saw that with Ohio State a couple years ago when we missed
right.
that 50-yard kick.
So I guess the question is like, do you feel bad for that?
For the Ohio State kicker? Yeah, I felt bad.
All right. Because I don't think I do feel bad in like NBA circumstances and MLB.
They're
like-
adults, though.
yeah, I mean,
NBA is adults.
for sure. There's just times though, like I don't know. I mean, the wife feels bad about everything that like if somebody does anything and they like miss a free throw, she feels bad. I'm like, no, like that's part of the game. Like you gotta like.
Yeah, but you have a chance to go to the NCAA tournament, and you're legitimately the reason why your
Yeah.
team isn't.
Yeah, I mean,
And you got to live with that all off season.
and he was, I think, like the one graphic, he was like crying as the game was tied. Like the game was still tied.
Yeah, he knew that. He knew
They
what he
tried to
did.
ice him. I know it's sickening. That one hurts. And then I wrote down a couple random possible upsets. Like Kansas could get upset in the first round against Samford.
Yeah.
Just because they're like like everybody's hurt on their team and they just got messed up in the Big 12 tourney too. I don't know if those guys are coming back. And then I put a fun one, a 30-win McNeese State over Gonzaga. Could be one.
And this isn't as strong of a Gonzaga team as we've seen in recent years.
No,
And
but
Gonzaga also
they
has
get
that
bad
little-
flack though. Like just because they're Gonzaga and like they make the tournament, like they're still good.
They're good. They're good,
like-
but this isn't like the Chet Holmgren Gonzaga or
No.
Jalen's Dogs.
No, like those Gonzagas are a little different, but I just feel like they always get this bad rap. Like, oh, they're the best team in that conference. They're gonna lose in the Sweet 16 or Elite Eight. Like they could do anything any year. They still get these top dudes that.
And shout out to Mark Few for staying with one program and building that up. I took a little bit of a different approach.
Okay.
I projected a Final Four. Out of the East, I'm going to take the number 1 seed UConn. I think they're clearly the best team in this field. They could beat you inside, outside.
Probably the best active current coach.
Probably the best active current coach. So they're like my number 1 overall, and I think they're going to win the championship. Other in the West, I'm going to take your Tar Heels. I think they're the best team in that bracket. I love the mix of experience they have. Like Bacot, he's like what, a 4th or 5th year.
Armando, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to be really big in this series.
Their guards just get by guys.
Yeah.
And so
It's like the old school when it was like Raymond Fountain.
no,
and
they're
yeah.
fun. They're actually like been fun to watch in like the last month or so. So I'm high on the Tar Heels right now.
In the South, I'm going to do this assuming Tyler Kolek is healthy. I'm going to go Marquette, the 2 seed. Tyler Kolek, he averages like 17 points, 7 assists.
He's good.
My wife went to Marquette. You got Cam Jones, Stevie Mitchell, Iso Ogadaro.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very good team. The only challenge with Marquette is if they run into a team that could pound you inside. That's a weakness of theirs. 'cause
Pause.
Um,
Go,
all right. So I'm thinking Marquette in the South. In the Midwest, I'm all taking another 2 seed. I'm going Tennessee. I love the way they play, all the fast pace.
Dalton Connect.
Dalton Connect. Yeah, he had like
Is
what
it-
40 against Kentucky last week.
He might be who the Cavs are missing, to be honest. I don't know how tall is Dalton Connect.
I don't know,
No, he's really good though.
but I take
like
UConn
that
as my
pick.
champion.
I like all that. I need some time still to pick my champion, but I'm probably leaning Tar Heels. UConn, I still do think is the best team.
It's just hard because you have to win those 6 games in a row.
I know it's all about like who's in front of them and that type of stuff. But all right, yeah, I'm gonna go bland and just say Tar Heels winning it all. But
All right.
we'll come back to this. It'll be Sweet 16 by the time we record next.
Yeah,
Okay. None of us have
it'll
cussed,
be
by the way.
it'll be dirt. Yeah, no.
We have not cussed.
All right. Hell yeah. Oh, there's one. All right, so we got to have a couple of
The swear jar works.
It does.
Just being there works.
It
Like I'm thinking about it.
We also want people to watch this with their
Yeah,
kids.
true.
All right, so we have a couple of fun would you rather questions.
Are they fun? We don't know what they are.
Are they?
I don't know. All right.
Well,
Is it written?
all
Okay,
right.
you go.
So I think the first one was a sports one.
Okay.
You know, what would you want to be at? Like if you had a time machine and could go back in time, would you rather go back to Wilt's 100-point game, or would you rather go to the 1932 World Series where Babe Ruth called his shot?
All right. Easy answer, Will. And I want to know that the game happened. Every time, every single time that record gets brought up, I'm like,
there was no recording.
One of these doesn't have film of it, so like you can't go on Synergy and just like type Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game. Like you can't go on any platform and watch this game. So it's easily the Wilt thing. I'm trying to think of like, I mean,
I think it would be interesting to see like this is pre 3-point line.
True, yeah.
So
you
you
shoot
get to
70
see,
shots. Go ahead, keep
like,
going. I'm gonna look at the stat line.
He just had to dominate inside. Probably, I think from what I remember reading from this game, Wilt was a very poor free throw shooter, and I think he only missed 1 or 2 free throws this game. I think he went like 31 of 32.
This is so stupid.
What's
he
the stat
averaged
line?
50 points a game that year.
Well, he also played like every minute of every game.
He was 36 for 63 from the field, 28 for 32.
Okay, so I was close.
Foul.
I was close.
Chamberlain annihilated his previous NBA scoring record of 78, set 3 months earlier. Didn't happen. Yeah, I mean, like, it didn't happen. Like, I don't know. No, it did happen. I'm sure it did. But, like, if you're not there for that moment, what you're going to pick doesn't have film either.
Sort of. The series has film, but not that moment. I'm going to take Babe Ruth. First of all, I want to see, did he actually call the shot? Kind of like you. Did this actually happen? We know he hit a home run in that moment, but did he actually call the shot, or was he just like stretching his arm, or
just made that shit up?
Yeah. I also want to see how there's one. I also want to see what were these guys throwing? Like, were we talking with these like 80-mile-an-hour fastballs at like
100%.
Yeah, like I want to see like the type of pitching he was seeing, because you don't really know.
We can step outside right now and I can pitch to you and you'll know the type of pitching that he's seeing. Like, but seriously, there's a certain, I mean, it's sports in general, sports arguments in general, but at some certain point you cannot compare eras because of this type of stuff. Like, it's just comical. I don't care if Wilt Chamberlain plays. Actually, he might score 100 now. I don't know.
I mean,
but
he was still 7 foot and could play.
Yeah, so it is a weird one. I like it though. What's our other
what was the okay, here's the other one. Non-sports. I'm going to give you 4 foods, and you have to cut out one of them.
Okay.
Got pizza. Got tacos. We have wings. And we have burgers. One has to go, and you can never eat it for the rest of your life.
And you know your answer?
Yeah.
Tacos are more versatile. Like, you can turn tacos into other foods.
Yeah.
Pizza's obviously staying on the list. Burgers are staying on the list.
Are we both going to go wings?
I'm going tacos.
You're going tacos.
I just think of like having 20 wings, like, and a pound of ranch next to me for a big game. Like, I need my wings. And there's my chicken fix. The only negative is like, I feel like tacos might be a little bit of like a loophole because you could be like salmon tacos, chicken tacos,
Right.
barbacoa
Tacos.
Well, I know
You're
so
giving
it's
up
like,
all of those.
all right, but like we didn't say. I guess we did say.
We
chicken
did say,
wings.
we
said chicken
literally
wings.
said you can never have it
So
for
no
the rest of your
but
life.
I could do that with pizza. I could put some things on pizza. Give me a filet pizza.
What are you saying?
I can get the
Do you
filet.
understand the question?
Yeah. I'm thinking of the loopholes with the pizza. You could still get all these other food items on my pizza. I had a burger at our restaurant with peanut butter on it. You could do anything. Anything is possible.
I mean, you could do like
So-
a taco type burger where you put ground beef in it. You know, you put like some ketchup, mustard. You know,
no mustard. Never.
okay, no mustard for Johnny. I'm gonna take wings. I love pizza. I love
Because you're
tacos.
not a man. It's because you're not a man. You can't give up wings.
I can give up wings.
What do you have Super Bowl Sunday? You're just not going to eat
Pizza or tacos or
All right,
burgers.
fair, that's fair. All right. Well, definitely. I mean, I'm not going to hate on the pick. Like, tacos are dope. Like,
Yeah, it was a
wings
fun
are
one.
dope. Like,
I mean, we just got to
fuck.
stop eating these.
I'm never going to
Nah.
stop.
Yeah, you get another one, anyway.
That was good, though. That was good.
It was good. All right, so come join us next week.
A little
when we
more
record.
slap happy. It's a little late night
It's
right
yeah.
now. So, oh,
what's our
shit.
stuff to email?
beyondballpod@gmail.com. We got some interactions this week, and we're looking for more.
Thanks everyone for listening.
Yep. Shoot it, baby.